Hi, it's Jen again. Today I thought I would do a Let's Play video. I decided that I wanted to show a little bit more support for the indie development community, and rather than spend a lot of time on forums and social media, I decided I wanted to start doing Let's Play videos just to give my first impressions of some visual novels out there. I'm gonna try to pick titles that I haven't already seen a lot of talk about. And yeah, I have pretty strong opinions. If I kind of make a critique, it doesn't necessarily mean that the game would be better if it followed my opinion. It just means that that is just my opinion. And I thought I would just kind of share with you my candid kind of just first impressions. A lot of it is going to be more focused on the general aesthetics of the game. That is one thing about visual novels, is I think that the visuals are kind of one of the most important elements of the game when it comes to first impressions, because if you don't have a good strong visual or an interesting visual, or you haven't kind of captured your audience at a first glance, it's going to be kind of hard to draw them into your story. That would be the difference between a visual novel and say just a written novel. So I would say if you're not planning on kind of attacking those visuals and making those a really important core element of your story, as if you were making a movie or an animatic for a movie, I think that your story would probably be better off just as a written novel. Sometimes I think people who really enjoy playing visual novels, who have a really good story, might decide that they really want to make their story into a visual novel. But if you're not somebody who's used to thinking visually, I would say spend a lot of time really thinking about what you want your visual the visual aspect of your story to convey, other than just a general style. I want to have my characters be an anime style or something. Think about more about the how you can use the mood, the colors to kind of go for something stylistically, other than just your whether or not it's in a Western style or an Eastern style, or whether or not it has a modern font, or all those are components. But I think if you want to make a really good, if you really want to grab people's attention, you should be thinking of something that's really cohesive along with your story visually to accompany it. I struggled with the GUI a lot because I come from a comics background, so I kind of knew what I wanted to go with as far as my character design and everything went. But I really struggled with the more kind of cinematic and game design, as far as the interface design elements of the game, which are probably still honestly very weak. So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to give you my where I'm going to be approaching these games from, because I'm not planning on doing very long Let's Plays where I kind of give my deep thoughts about the character development and the plot and everything. This is just going to be kind of a first impression. So thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be giving my first impressions of a game called The Inverted Spire. I was interested in I think I saw a post on VN Dev Reddit about this game, and it just seemed like it had a very unique premise. I was kind of intrigued by the characters being goblins. That seemed like a really kind of cool thing, especially with Halloween and everything coming up. And it looks to be a pretty large game as far as size goes, so I feel like there must be a decent amount of assets and content of work put into this game as well. If you're interested in giving this game a try, it's free on itch.io, and I'll leave a link in the comments below. So let's go ahead and see what it's all about. This game was made in Ren'Py, which is the same development kit that I'm using, so I'm really interested to see what they come up with. I'm very like newbie when it comes to programming, especially doing any of the custom stuff. So already I'm like, ooh, look at this custom menu with this like animation in it, and we've got sounds that are cueing when you like hover over the buttons. So all those are like really cool to me, and I like how this button here, descend, is like your start button. So I guess that means we're gonna be going deep. There you go. And that's a nice transition. I really like the panning with the fade right there. This is interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about this real heavy line weight here in comparison to like this nice, like very thin, delicate line work here. It might be just a little jarring to me because they're both like this line weight has like the effect to kind of separate it from this background, but this portrait here I feel like is kind of also in the foreground of like the information, since I'm assuming this is like the protagonist. I don't know how I feel about it. Maybe if there was just more black to balance out this really dark outline, like maybe if this was darker gray closer to black in here or something, maybe there just feels like there's a lot of like very mid gray here, and I would like to see a little bit more black to balance out either more black in the background or more black in this here. Maybe even black like outlining these this text or something, or maybe even like a black border down here or something would just kind of help. Maybe I just want a little bit more contrast in general. Like I think I could push it a little bit more. Like here we have some black here. If we could just maybe even match that in this dialog box down here and in here. I don't know. I'm a skimmer, so I'm not going to read out loud. I'm just trying to get an impression. So far it's really interesting because this person's like inner monologue, if I didn't know that they were a goblin from their portrait here, it sounds like something that like anybody who's who's going to like a school could be saying, which is really kind of interesting. Inverts expectations. That is really cool. So I'm super impressed by this this font here. Really creative. I don't know how to do that. I'd have to like research how you go about doing that effect. So I'm super impressed by that. That's cool. And see, this is interesting too, because all this talk is like very like, it doesn't like stand out necessarily. Then you have like a term like flesh worker, and then you're like, okay, maybe this isn't just like a normal, modern, regular school. I don't know how I feel about having the font aligned to this side. It's interesting. I think I normally like used to seeing it more like aligned to center. Especially with having the next button all the way over here. Alrighty though, this character seems really interesting and really pretty complicated in their motivations. I like the line work there. I like these pans. The background animations are a nice touch. Yeah, I like this level of contrast here with this like dark shadow, making these really strong shapes here with this like white, very light fog. Like this more dramatic lighting, I guess, is more my taste. And I like this line work here. I like this artwork, so I just wish it would pop out just a little bit more. It kind of just fades into this middle level of gray. Yeah, I love these like camera movements. This is a really interesting effect too. Interesting choice there of having the font be in this gray. Interesting. Okay, so we've unlocked a codex. I feel like the lore in this story is going to be very deep. Basis syntheses and registries ability to have two screws. This is all very interesting too, and I'm not sure what this part is. Interestingly enough, though, these characters have... So this is definitely our protagonist, as opposed to these characters who have these affinity and I guess unlockable secrets. I'm not sure why I can fill this bar up or not. That's interesting. I like these goblin designs. I keep wanting to call them orcs for some reason, though. These are very intellectual goblins. Or at least this protagonist is. Maybe that's why she's getting into so much trouble, because she's not a conformist. There's a lot of art put into this story already, and we're not even that far in. Okay, so now we have our first choice. I'm just more the helpful type. These are nice too. This is cool too. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I'm realizing that I'm doing more just reading thoughtfully than making comments, so I think my first impressions have been pretty much conveyed. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you'll check out this game because it seems really, yeah, it seems really interesting. And take care, enjoy the process. Bye.